guess what's going to happen? Click, check out, credit card, and you're further in debt. I know what I'm talking about because I've done that. I've done that. But the thing is that we have to be passionate. We have to desire. And one of the things that Dave Ramsey says is just like a gazelle running down, right? Running away from the lion. And the lion is passionate because he's hungry, right? He desires to eat. And he will not stop until he pounces on that gazelle. And if you're the gazelle and your goal is to get away from the attack, and let's put it back to the finances, okay, you're trying to get away, get out of debt, then you have to desire to run hard and not stop. So whenever something tempts you, you're gonna say, you know what? I gotta get away from that, and the only way I cannot pay attention to what's going on over here. I'm gonna have to stick to my plan and pursue it. In Habakkuk, he says, I will stand my guard post and station myself on the rampart, and I will keep watch to see what he will speak to me, and how I may reply when I am reproved. Then the Lord answered me and said, record the vision and inscribe it on tablets, that the one who reads it, something happened here. For the vision is yet for the appointed time, it hastens toward the goal and will not fail. Though it tarries, wait for it, for it will certainly come. It will not delay. We must, if we're going to get anywhere in life, is to have some kind of vision, some kind of goal on where we're heading. And what better time than the beginning of a new year to start planning on what we want to do, where we want to go. If we continue to do the same thing, right, and expect different results, I've said this before. What is that? So, in order for us to make a change, guess what? We have to do something different. Now, how many of you, when you came in, was greeted by a couple people? Did you know that was planted? I mean, that was planned, right? When I went to California, to Hillcrest Baptist Church, that's one thing I did, is when I walked in the sanctuary, they handed me a muffin, I think it was, and they said, would you like some water? I go, wow, what a breath of fresh air. When they welcomed me to the point, and not only that, I went to their Sunday school class, and they asked me my name, and I went there the next week. Every single person in that Sunday school remembered my name. How many of you enjoy it when people remember your name? Huh? Well, then that must be important, right? If people think that, wow, they remember my name, and if that's important to me, wouldn't that be important to a newcomer? So what we have to do is when a newcomer comes in, we have to get excited about the newcomer, go in and meet them, and remember their name. That's something that can be really easy. Well, we can make excuses, right? I have a bad memory. I have a hard time with remembering people's names. How many of you made that excuse before? Huh? Yeah, I have. I have a bad memory. But you know what? If you ever taken memory classes, they tell you to do different things, maybe association. Something that will help you remember, and we have to start doing that. I mean, so many times we get so preoccupied in our own agenda that somebody tells us our name and the next moment you go, what was that guy's name again? Well, you know what I like to do is I like to, and hopefully when we start doing this greeting thing, I forgot to tell our greeters that give them if they're a new person, to give them the card that they can fill out all the information. And it's not cheating. I get the card and I look at that and I put it in my phone and I call that person and I let them know that I was happy that they showed up. Well, if the preacher does that, that can be exciting for that person, right? Can you imagine what would happen if everybody went in the back and said, I want to see that person's phone number, and I want to make sure I got that name right, because you hear a name, but sometimes you hear wrong. Yeah, the older we get, we start to hear something wrong, and we think it's one name and then it's another name. And how many of you enjoy it when someone calls you the wrong name? Huh? Can you imagine what can happen when a person steps in here and he gets 5, 10 calls from the congregation? We were so excited of having you here today. We hope to see you again. If there's anything that I can do for you, just give me a call. Here's my phone number. What do you think will happen? People will get excited. Wow, they really care. They really want me back. Do you think that might kind of be on their mind when they have a response like that? Proverbs 29:18, where there's no vision, the people perish, but he that keepeth the law, happy is he. Now I know some of us have been really discouraged about the numbers. And I've been told, what can we do to build up our numbers again? Well, for one thing is that we have to get a little more excited about who we are. And show it. It's not like, rejoice in the Lord always. Huh? How many of you like it when you see someone or hear someone say, I'm having a great day today? Huh? I mean, one of the things that we all do, right, is when we greet someone, good morning, and what's the next question?
How are you?
How are you?
How are you? How do you respond?
Fine.
Fine. And down deep inside, he says, I'm feeling terrible. I just want to die. I woke up on the wrong side of the bed. Bah, right? How many of you enjoy people that, I'm fine? And you know they're lying, right? How many of you ever lied before? Say, I'm fine. Huh? Yeah, I have. I'm fine. And I'm just like irritated and I'm not fine at all. Hey, we have to choose every day to be fine. To choose every day to have the great day. Why? Because every day this is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Hey, the Lord's giving me another day to serve Him. If I die, I praise the Lord. If I live, I praise the Lord. It doesn't matter, because life circumstances shouldn't dictate my joy in the Lord. Well, that's just my personality, is I don't like to show my feelings and emotions. Hey, maybe you have to act a little bit. Try that this week, okay? Act like you're full of joy. Like something exciting has just happened, and you're just like, want to just shout it to the mountaintop and say, hey, you know what happened? I mean, we each of us have the greatest news, the greatest story ever told, and we need to proclaim it to the mountaintops. And when we start getting excited about what Jesus has done for us, you know what? Our lives will show it. And people will see our excitement on who we are. And they will want what we got. So let's get excited for the message of the gospel. In Matthew 10, it says, Jesus says, a disciple is not above his teacher, nor a slave above his master. It is enough for a disciple that he becomes like his teacher, and the slave like his master. If they have called the head of the house Beelzebub, how much more will they malign the members of his household? Therefore do not fear them, for there is nothing concealed that will not be revealed, or hidden that will not be known. How many of you have done things in private that you're pretty ashamed of? You know what? Do you really believe that God exists? That God sees everything? Why is it that we do those things in private that are shameful? God sees it. He sees it all. And he says that these will be made known. I remember way back when I was managing Malaikahana State Recreation Area, and some things that I did I'm not too proud to talk about. And we end up having to close the association, shut it down. My ministry with camping, Christian camping, was shut down because of what I did. You know, things that I did in secret was exposed to light. And it ruined a ministry that I had. Of course, it could have taken me down. I could have given up. But I kept on going. So if there's anything going on in your life that you're ashamed of, you know what? God knows. And that's the time when we need to repent and give it to the Lord. What I tell you in the darkness, speak in the light. What you hear whispers in the ear, proclaim on the housetops. Do not fear those who kill the body, but are unable to kill the soul, but rather fear him who is able to destroy both the soul and the body in hell. Are not two sparrows sold for a cent, and yet one of them will fall to the ground apart from our Father? But the very hairs of your head are numbered. So do not fear. You are more valuable than many sparrows. Therefore, everyone who confesses me before men, I will also confess him before my Father who is in heaven. But whoever denies me before men, I will also deny him before my Father who is in heaven. Do not think that I came to bring peace on the earth. I did not come to bring peace, but the sword. When I think about that song that came out, I don't know, it was the 70s, let there be peace on earth. And let it be. It's true, right? We need to allow the kind of peace that they're talking about is not the kind of peace that Jesus has to offer. Basically, they're talking about absence of war. Remember when the soldiers came back from Vietnam? That's all they were talking about was peace. And yet there was turmoil. Lives were messed up. Sexual immorality was rampant. Diseases. Pot. Corruption. That's not peace. The only peace, the true peace that Jesus came to bring was a right relationship with you and your Heavenly Father. For I came to set a man against his father, and a daughter against her mother, and a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. And a man's enemies will be the members of his household. He who loves father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. And he who loves a son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. That's hard words, right? Another place it says that we are supposed to hate our own family members. Does it mean that we need to hate them? No. It says that we have to put in perspective what is the most important thing of all. Again, the greatest commandment of all is to, everybody say it together, love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, and all your mind, all your strength. And the second is like unto it, to love your neighbor as yourself. Those two commandments sum up the whole law and the prophets. If you can follow those two laws, what else matters? When you're loving God and honoring Him and putting Him number one in your life, you're going to reach your goal. But sometimes we tend to put our family first. That's really sad. God's not saying that family isn't important, but we have to prioritize, right? How many of you have done it before where you write down your priorities? I suggest that for this year. Write down what is the most important thing that consumes you. Write it down, number one. In fact, write 5 things, write number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, write 5 things down, and then check to see which is most important and redo it. And maybe that will help you see what your goal is. And it should be that God is number one, and that you will do as God has commissioned us to do, is to spread the love of Christ, spread the message of the gospel to everyone. That should be on top. If it's not, why not? So 2020 vision. If you have a pen, if you don't, Carol, there's a basket over there. You can pass a pen around. I was going to have paper for you to write it down. But I want you to write down an answer to this question. What goals should Alliance Christian Church establish for 2020? And then, what personal goal do I have to help the congregation achieve that goal? You see, so many times we expect other people to do the work. We've had that happen for a long time now, and people are starting to chip in. One of the things, again, I want to do is I want people to step forward and volunteer to do different things. Like, I called Randy up, or texted Randy and asked him if he would pass out water. Just a simple thing, greet people. Well, you know, I don't want to have him do it every Sunday, and he probably wouldn't want to do it anyway. But a simple thing by handing a bottle of water. Maybe those of you who like to bake have the gift of baking. Bake some goodies. And can you imagine what it'd be like to pass out some water and a snack for them to come in while they're coming in? And I know what some people are thinking. Well, what about spilling the water in the chairs or crumbs on the floor? Hey, so what? I'm more concerned about the soul of the person coming in. And blessing people. What am I willing to do to accomplish these goals? Father in heaven, thank you so much that you are a God of vision, that you, you know the future. You know what's going to happen. But the exciting thing, Lord, is that you wanted to include us to be a part of your plan. So, Lord, help each one here today to set the goals